for sure the next 10 years are going to be very pivotal in this digital transformation journey, in these technological, innovations that are happening. And AI, ML, data science, data analytics, these are things that will shape up the future. We only talk about startups to be nimble and agile, but why not look at DataArt as one company being agile, nimble, and a disruptor in the industry space we are in? So just to add on, thank you.
So, Sheetal, since you are leading the R&D development and sector in India, what are your insights on the same question? Do you think that there was some technology that was relevant in the past and has become completely irrelevant today and will not be relevant in the future as well?
Wow. So interestingly, our locations are called R&D centers
Mm-hmm.
by DataArt.
Mm-hmm.
So coming to the more technological side of things, as you mentioned,
Right.
as Alexei rightly said, the next 10 years, I feel, from what I'm hearing in the market, and like I attended the Bangalore Tech Summit recently, so we had some good discussions going on there around AI, ML, and the unknown. So, as rightly said, I wouldn't be able to kind of name the specific technologies that are going to get redundant, but for sure the next 10 years are going to be very pivotal in this digital transformation journey, in these technological, innovations that are happening. And AI, ML, data science, data analytics, these are things that will shape up the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yet at the end of the day, our human mind, or our brains ourselves as humans, it's such a colossal kind of, I would say, a setup,
Mm-hmm.
where we are able to ideate, we are able to pivot, we are able to be agile, we are able to change the speed of things. So if we use our minds with AI by our side, I'm sure we are going to win it. We don't need to kind of get scared of what's in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And as a company, as a culture, data art is used to working in the unknown. So for us, we are happy to keep AI and ML on our side and work alongside it. And to that point, when it comes to AI ML, we are very proud and humbled that we already have AI ML labs at DataArt. We already have incubation hubs, accelerators within the company. So that's kind of our way of being prepared for the future to come.
What should we call is the next cutting edge technology 3 years ago, which is almost redundant today? And do you think the software industry will soon mimic the pattern of how fast mobile phones become outdated? Like, is there so is there like something like that do you have in mind?
Well, it's a very good question. And being in technology business, I'm supposed to have a nice, insightful answer. The truth is, I don't know. And for many technologies, not knowing has become completely normal.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to discuss this and debate this a little bit because I think a lot of people, a lot of folks in the business world and in the society at large often refer to this dizzying, super fast pace of technology change. Technology, basic tools change, the way technology affects our life changes. ChatGPT comes along, and all of a sudden everyone's on ChatGPT, even though they somehow survived without it for the past several thousand years. So it's this, and next year it'll be something else. The truth is, if you look at the technology world over the last 40 or 50 years, that pace of change has always been there. It has just not always been visible to quote unquote the users, the rest of us who are using it in our everyday life. But even if I look back on my own career in this industry in the last 2 or 3 decades, every couple of years, the best technology to put together this type of app or this type of system changes. So tech people are used to this. And for them, not knowing what comes next is normal because they know it will come and they will have, 3 days to prepare, and that's okay. They're no longer shocked by it. Obviously, things like cloud, mobile to a large degree, a little bit before, and now AI, transformational. They have every mark of fundamentally changing how we develop technology, how we conduct business, the degree of availability of various tools in our daily lives. They affect the very business dynamics of it. But there are some false starts over the last 5 to 6 years. You know, in the business world, business technology world, everyone was saying, well, Bitcoin is not serious, but blockchain is the stuff that will change business. Well, Bitcoin is still doing great. Blockchain is still struggling to find applications. Well, that was a little bit of a misfire. But I think I have a high degree of confidence to say that AI will not be a misfire. It seems too big and too serious and too dramatic for that, but you just never know. So my recommendations to many of our employees, many of our clients, be at peace with not knowing what comes next. Don't try to prepare for a specific technology. Just prepare for change. When it comes, you'll be able to respond to it. That's a position that is not always popular and it's not very comfortable for a lot of people, but I fundamentally think it's safer, especially for a consultancy organization with global ambition. We're not interested in making a bet as a business. I'm now speaking less philosophically and more practically as a business. We're not interested in being the world's best expert on one single technology. We want to be known as a company, as a consultancy who can help clients with anything that might happen in their technology infrastructure. And so some of that stuff we know very well, some of that stuff we can figure out very quickly. And we want our clients to have every confidence that we indeed can and will. And therefore, maintaining this somewhat neutral posture and preparedness for change is strategically very important for us.
So we have a question that many great app and software ideas usually they die because the person who's come up with the idea did not have the knowledge on how to proceed with the development, or simply thought that it was not their cup of tea. So what would you like to tell them to help their ideas come to life?
Okay, so of course, there are a lot of ideas and innovative approaches, some of these startups come with or individuals come with. And we do see a trend many a times that, things go to a certain level and then, they rolled back or things just don't kind of develop as they should. uh, there I wouldn't say that I can give you a kind of magic potion here on how we can bring better apps to the market, or how ideas can marketed can be can come to market. There are lots of nuances, lots of experiences, lots of I would say even the situations, environment, a lot of things that kind of play in together. Yet, let me try and answer this in my way, the best way possible. So, let's say we have an idea of building a product or doing something. Before we even think of working on it, a lot of research needs to go in the back end. What we see, it's like that iceberg approach that we see in marketing and sales and R&D and product development. What we see is just the tip of the iceberg, but right behind the things that we don't see, and that iceberg which is 90% immersed, is all research and a lot of understanding, development, reading, learning. So please do your research. Please research what the market has, what kind of applications and softwares already exist, what are your competitors doing, what is working, what is not working, what the market demands. Are you solving a problem? Are you fulfilling a need? All this is part of your research. So research is very important, number one. Secondly, as a ideator or as a product developer, you don't need to, I'm not saying that you need to understand the coding language or you need to know how to code, yet you need to understand the whole development process. You at least need to understand the various stages of development when a product is coming from ideation to fruition, and at least the basic technological layers, basic technology that needs to be utilized in making that product or that application. So at least do that research and be very cognizant of the stages that are involved. It's not like it's not like some missile theory that you ideate and then you bring it to market. No, it never happens. There are a lot of stages, there are a lot of things involved, and pay cognizance, utilize that time and energy at every stage. It is important. So I would say that understand the various development stages of new product development. It's sometimes called NPD. So know these kind of stages in your new product development cycle. Before it comes to market, simple, test the idea. You can start from your friends. You can even test your idea from your friends, your colleagues, your social networks. So please test the ideas before you kind of bring it to market. And like I rightly said, does it fulfill a need or does it solve a problem? We
Right.
need to understand this from that application that you're developing. So please test your ideas. You can also test your ideas with surveys, with interviews, talking to people, talking to understanding what the market needs. So get involved in doing all this. Then comes a very important part of product development, I feel, is having a good mentor. A mentorship program, or having a mentor, being a mentee while you're developing your application, is very important, because a mentor brings in that kind of I would say collaboration, which you yourself may be missing out on just by you thinking, or you thinking with your friends, or you thinking with your colleagues. So having a mentor is very important while you're developing your app. Then I would never say just go big right from day one. Take small steps, because when you take small steps and when you do, you start small, you're able to iterate. And that is the need of the hour. Please, please listen to your customer. You may have a great vision. You may have a great, you may have that great thing in your mind that this is going to create wonders. You will be surprised that the customer may be wanting something else, and that's the time. If you start small, you're able to iterate, you're able to adapt, you're able to be flexible, you're able to do so much more by just listening to your customers. So it's important to start small. It's important to collaborate. I may not be able to code, I may not know a lot of things. This is the time to collaborate with people, outsource with people, outsource with maybe smaller companies who can help you, and then go together as one while you're building that application or building that program. And without doubt, whatever I said does not make any sense if, as an application, as an app developer, or as a product developer, I just don't have grit, determination, and persistence. Grit is something that hard work is needed three times more than the technology, or more than these skills can be learned. But persistence, determination, that thing, drive to continuously move on with it, yet a word of caution: not fall in love with your project or with your product. You know, if
Hmm.
you fall in love with your product, you have gone. You're so biased in your approach that you're not listening to anybody, but you're just loving your product. It doesn't work. So these are a few things I would like to say. And of course, at the end of the day, it's money. We need the funds. So, when you're developing something, you need the funds. So go to various schemes, scholarships, grants, crowdfunding approaches. That's how you reach out to people and reach out to, some good funding. So that's pretty much it about product development, or how to bring your app from an idea to market.
So, Alexei, let's come to you. So, with an increasing number of similar applications, what do you think is the new definition of innovation in the tech industry?
It's an interesting question because the variety is needed for the general public to select what works for them.
Right.
There is a point at which it seems it's too much. Do we need 1,000 fitness tracking applications? Do we really need 700 password managers to choose from? It's all a little tiresome for the consumer. But I I think this variety is an opportunity, and an inconvenience, but that inconvenience is relatively minor compared to the risk of concentrating power within a few select very large tech companies. And this is maybe a little bit sideways from the exact question you're asking, because I think that if we make an argument that there are too many similar apps, then we're advocating for some kind of selection process. And typically, folks at very large tech companies are doing it for us. But I would say that they're getting it right as often as they're getting it wrong. So this variety is the inconvenience that I am personally prepared to live with as the price to pay for not concentrating power of selection in the hands of tech companies. I think um, I think one aspect that many of the apps out there, many of the product developers come to focus on a little too late is security, data protection, caring for the sort of well-being of their customer. And generally, larger tech companies are doing a better job at it. If you monitor news for about hacks and so on, it's just less frequent in the large tech companies. So I'm seeing sort of this mutual support system, if you will, whereby the smaller companies continue to innovate and crank out potentially useless apps, but the general public, such as ourselves, retain the right to choose, where the large tech companies provide the basic infrastructure, particularly around security and data protection, to make it a safer ecosystem. I don't know how that dual system works in reality. It's easy to talk about it. It's harder to actually implement it. But for me, that would be the right version of innovation, if you will, that supports this the speed of change that we all, I guess, live with or even welcome, but not creating additional risks in the world that is already not super safe.
So, now the question that the entire world somehow wants an answer for is that do you both think that AI will one day take over the world, like the Terminator? And if not, then what is the extent to which it will impact our lives in a positive and in a negative way? Like, how do you think that it'll positively impact, or probably it'll bring a more negative change in the future?
Of course, it's not going to rule us, AI, or it's not going to be any kind of Terminator or any kind of thing. As I mentioned some time back, AI is a tool, and how we, as human beings, and especially our human mind, work with it, pivot with it, be, kind of work along with AI. That's how I look at it. We need to kind of keep AI by our side so that both of us win.
Right.
And how can we do that? Our past experiences of so many years
Mm-hmm.
has taught us that the human brain is just limitless.
Right.
The capacity, the limit, the nature of the human brain is just
Mm-hmm.
limitless. So what happens is the human brain is able to ideate, pivot, be agile, take decisions, stop decisions, take wrong decisions, take right decisions, or whatever you may call it. But because we are able to utilize our brains and
Mm-hmm.
just, I may not be able to put it in a beautiful, embellished format, but till the human mind thinks, we will be able to keep AI on our side, and we would be able to kind of win along with AI by our side.
Mm-hmm.
I surely don't think we are going to be negatively impacted by AI. I do feel that upskilling, cross skilling, and learning new skills is a necessity of the hour and will come in for our people, for our workforce, so on and so forth, because certain things may be taken over by these automated bots, AI bots.
Right.
And but when certain mundane things are taken over by AI bots, a person like Alexei, Tanvi, and me have the time to think more on important things. Let's look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, that shift, that mind shift, skill shift would be needed in years to come.
I agree. So I was reading something that it says that there's a quote that says, technology is a great servant, but a terrible master. So now to Alexei, I would like to know the other side. So now what if technology becomes a master? Because somehow we as a generation and as the generation is progressing, somehow we are also becoming a little lazy and technology is making us a little lazy. So what if we make technology our master and we completely depend upon these tools?
Well, I'm less worried about technology becoming the master because technology, at least what we created to be, is fairly rational. And if I put myself in place of technology, what's the point of ruling these strange biological organisms? It's too troublesome. It's okay. So I'm not worried about technology being particularly interested in ruling us. On a more serious note, in the long term, I am a little bit worried about the power of AI to cause harm because I think humans continuously underappreciate the negative side of what we invent. I mean, we as humans and science, and I'm not a scientist, at least not anymore, but historically, scientists have invented some unpleasant things, nuclear weapons and biological weapons and others. And now we learn to control them, we keep them in a bunker. We're dependent on certain security protocols to keep them locked away and not available to the general public. I don't mean to sound dramatic and saying AI will have to be kept in a bunker or else it causes destruction of humanity. But we are inventing some dangerous things, and not always are able to calculate consequences of what it causes. I think, on balance, the benefits of making the world a more efficient and more equitable place outweigh the risks. So I do not advocate for AI to be put in a bunker and slow down its development, but certainly it feels like combined computing power to analyze things and make decisions is reaching a point where human capacity to process the consequences is just not going to keep up, and decisions made automatically and supposedly rationally may have consequences that we will find quite bad.
Right.
But in the short term, it's actually a phenomenal opportunities for business. Now I'll sort of take off my philosophical hat and I will put on a very practical business hat. AI and AI related technology, because not all of it is just this omnipresent super brain that we refer to AI. AI is actually some very practical thing that allows systems to be created faster, that allows humans to interface with certain technology systems using human language and not knowing how to code, and so on and so forth. It opens tremendous opportunities in the short term. I may be, I don't know, a restaurant owner, and I want to create a system that will explain the menu to people who have never heard of my restaurant in a language that they will understand in their own language. It's very it's not today, but it's tomorrow that I can talk to AI and say, create me such system, and it will. And it will cost me, $7 versus $500,000 that it might cost today. So AI as an accelerator in creating smart technology for whoever wants it is an enormous equalizer. Some capabilities that are only available to the largest banks to invent new ways of processing financial transactions within people. It's very, very expensive, even today. But something like that, because of AI and the efficiency that it brings, will be available to just about anybody. Sheetal and I could create our own peer-to-peer payment network with the help of AI in a couple of days, and it will work. It will be different from JP Morgan's, and it's generally a beautiful